and to celebrate the success of others, Lord. And we give you the glory. In your name we pray, Lord. Amen, amen, and amen.
Major Carter, do you want to say anything else, or are we ready to begin?
Yeah. Well, do you want me to say something else?
Do you want to share a story?
Yeah, sure.
Please. It'd be a pleasure.
All right. Now, earlier, Tim had asked me to share a little bit about myself and the Salvation Army. And I didn't know if I should or not. I seen on the program it said welcome and prayer, and I didn't want to go too long. But anyway, he had, as we were talking about this program, he asked me to share a little bit about who I am and who inspired me to be where I am today. And one of the, as I said, I'm a pastor with the Salvation Army. I've been a pastor, ordained minister with the Salvation Army for over 20 years now. I've been with the Salvation Army since 1984. So a little bit of time. I put some time in it. I'm from Pittsburgh, and I got transferred, me and my wife here in July. It'll be 3 years. And so we love Boston. We love the city. We love the uniqueness. There's just so much. But one of the people who inspired me to be where I'm at was a man by the name of Commissioner Israel Gaither. Commissioner Israel Gaither is a retired pastor in the Salvation Army, but he's also a well-known person. In fact, he made it in the Forbes top 10 list as one of the greatest speakers. He was the first Black commissioner of the Salvation Army, first Black national commander of the Salvation Army. And one of the reasons why we have the Kroc Centers is because of him. The Kroc Centers came under his leadership. Many years ago, when Joan Kroc had gave the donation to the Salvation Army, when she shared her vision for the Salvation Army to start these Kroc Centers, these multi-community centers, it came across his desk. And he had the knowledge and the wisdom and the power to help to put things together to launch it. And as a result of his hard work, we have Kroc Centers throughout the United States. So this richness that we have and the ability to provide the programs that we have right now, this man who's also a mentor of mine, he's still living. He had a major part in it. And so I thank God for what he's done for me personally, but also what he's done with the Salvation Army and his work, his legacy. We see it right now. And had it not been for him, we wouldn't be on this Zoom right now because we wouldn't have the Kroc program in Boston. So, just a little story about Israel Gaither. If you get a chance, Google his name. He's all over, and there's a lot of information that you would learn about his ministry and his effort and his hard work and his vision for people of color, for people, period, in the Salvation Army. So thank you, Tim, for giving me that opportunity to share who I am and one of my mentors. I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you, Major. Next up, we have Aisha, who's going to share us a story.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. I'm part of the Salvation Army Culinary class, and I absolutely love it. Chef Tim is amazing. And we had a homework assignment of Black history and to talk about anyone that resonates with us, and that is someone that is special, that has gone through a certain journey in the culinary industry. It doesn't have to be, it could be a celebrity. It didn't have to be a celebrity. I chose to choose someone that I knew that was dear to me, an old friend of mine that is that he tells me every second that he gets about where he came from, how he established the things that he established, and he's just like a father to me, and he just really just like expresses his journey to me all the time. So he was my person I spoke about. So I'm going to begin. Remy was born in the northern part of Haiti. As a young adult, he worked as a fisherman. Remy eventually got married and had 3 boys. In 1986, the president of Haiti, Baby Doc, was overturned due to his communist stance. The people of Haiti rebelled against the regime. Due to the country's turmoil, Remy was let go and faced hardship. Remy and his family moved to America in search for a better life. With language barriers, it was hard for Remy to get a job, so he had to take whatever opportunity landed his way. The first job he was able to land was being a busboy for the restaurant in Brookline. The restaurant owner owned several restaurants, and in the area, he asked, sorry, I have my son in the background. He asked Remy if he could talk, if he would like to take over. Oh my goodness. Give me 1 second, Isa, please. 1 second, okay? Okay, sit on the couch. I lost my train of thought. Okay, that's like the curse of Zoom when you're a parent. With the language barrier, it was hard for Remy to get a job, so he had to take whatever opportunity landed his way. The first job he was able to land was being a busboy for a restaurant in Brookline. The restaurant owner had owned several restaurants in the area and asked Remy if he would like to work at a pizza shop because they needed help. One day, the pizzerillo called out, and the owner was in a bind, and he asked Remy if he could handle making the pizzas. For the first time, for the first pizza, it wasn't the best. He did not know what he was doing, but through time, he got the hang of things. Remy ended up covering the pizzeria shift for a week. When Remy came back to work the following Monday, he was actually offered the position of the pizzeria at the shop. With his kids getting older and rent becoming more expensive, Remy started looking for high-paying jobs. He eventually found a job at a widely known foster home as a cook, but not a chef. Remy has been at this group home for 28 years and still works there. He has a wonderful sense of humor, great heart, and never gives up. He makes sure he stays up with his Safe Serve certifications, and throughout the year, even though he started as a cook, they've given him chef responsibilities. Remy is what we call the American dream. Where you vision yourself in a better situation and take the necessary steps in needing to bring that dream to life. His story is very similar to many families here in the United States. People who travel for miles in search for a better life. It all starts with one vision, discipline, and dedication. Remy's taught me to never give up, never be afraid to try something new, to put myself in front of the right people and keep practicing my talent. The rest will all fall into place. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Next up, we have Shonda from Southern Twist.
Hello, everyone. So I'm just going to briefly give you a little backstory on my business. I also graduated from the Kroc Center. I'm going on 3 years now. And as soon as I was done with that, I went right into getting my business started, which is a catering business. And from the start of it, I've been doing really well, 3 years in the making, and my business is going really well. I'm looking to advance it. So, it's a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of hard work in it. And you, just like Aisha was saying, that you can't give up. You just got to keep pushing to make your product better, to make your business better. And just, sometimes you have to just, the voices that you hear in the background that are saying that you can't do it, you just got to continue to push it and stay away from all the negativity. And also you have to put prayer first, put God first, keep the faith, and don't give up. So with that being said, one of the popular dishes that's on my menu is collard greens. And as you see, if you can see, I already have some already. They're already clean. They're already washed. And I'm going to give you a little background on collard greens. And I just recently found this out myself as I was doing some research around collard greens and stuff like that. And as everyone know, collard greens is very popular in the Black community, in our backgrounds. And I always thought that collards came from, the African side, and it was not. It was originated in the Mediterranean, which was really shocking. And how it came to be an African dish, an African American dish, it was due to the fact that in the early 1600s, when I think this was in Virginia, somewhere around that time, when slave was really popular back then, that's when, with collard greens, that was one of the vegetables that African Americans was able to grow. And with that being said, once slavery was over, it kind of originated in the African American culture. So, and also with that being said, since when, let me see, I want to say maybe like in the early 1700s or something like that, it became really popular where people were cooking them a lot, and then it went from generations to generation. And right now it's also known that in the New Year's, if you see it, if you're in an African American household, every New Year's that they cook collard greens, because it is said that it brings good wealth, bringing in the New Year's. So if it's a myth, everyone does it. I still do it. My mom still does it. I grew up hearing that over and over and over. So I'm going to show everyone, like I said, they already been washed. They already been cleaned. In my mom's household, what you do is when you're cleaning them, before you rinse them and wash them, you take a damp rag and you wipe down all the sand on both sides like that. If everyone can see, you're wiping them down. Then you take a bunch of them, you roll them up like this. Hope everyone can see. You roll them up like this, and take your knife and you just chop them up. And you want them to look like this. Some people, would take them and rip them up, but, to make them look pretty good, you chop them up, roll them like this. And usually once you get a whole bunch of them in a bowl, again, you soak them in water. I put salt in my water. Some people put vinegar, and you just let it soak for a few minutes. I go through at least 3 or 4 rinses when I'm clean, once I'm soaking them. And once, you soak them and rinse them 3 or 4 times in salt water and vinegar, you pour the water out. And from there, in the meantime, I do have meat boiling. So people, I know in the Black culture, they love pork. They put a lot of pork in their collard greens. So it's like smoked ham hock, pigtails, which my mother does. And you let those cook down. And then once, you don't want a lot of water in your pot. So once your meat is cooked down, That's when you put your greens in, and from there you cooking the greens on medium high heat. And then once they kind of shrink, because greens tend to shrink, they don't stay the size, they'll shrink. And that's your time where you add in any kind of ingredients that you like. And with me, I use crushed pepper, I use accent, I use soul seasoning, which gives it a little flavor. And I also use probably like a tablespoon and a half of liquid smoke, which gives it a more tense flavor, which is really good. And you also can add some vinegar, salt, and pepper, but be mindful of the salt contents because your meat, whatever meat that you put in it, already have salt. I don't use pork. I use smoked turkey, which is more healthier than the pork. So I stay away from that because, a lot of the customers, they don't too much care for it. So I tend to stick more with the smoked turkey. So, and then you just let it cook and you put it on a low simmer and let it cook about 45 to an hour because you don't want your collard greens to be crunchy. They're supposed to have like a tender taste to it. So you want to slow cook it for at least 45 minutes to an hour while it's covered. And I'm going to show you the finished product. Well, actually, so this is your finished product. Hold it. I'm going to plate it just so you can see. And as you can see, this is smoked turkey. I also put pepper in it. I like it more on the spicy side because it just gives a little more kick, a little bit more flavor. People like to put hot sauce on it, which includes me. And I'm just going to give it a taste. Sorry for those who really like collard greens and cannot have any, but it's really good.
Can you save us some?
Sure. It's really good. So this is your collard greens with your smoked turkey.
Shonda, that was great. We have a couple questions. Can we ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
We have a question from Wonder, and the question is, how do you clean the collard greens?
So when it comes to cleaning your greens, when you're picking collard greens, you want to make sure that you're picking greens that are not damaged. You have to really look when you're going in the store, you're picking your greens. If they're not damaged, those are good greens. So good leafy greens. You put the greens, you take a towel, a cold towel, a clean cold towel, and you wipe your greens down one by one. And this is the way that I was taught in my household, how to clean greens. We used to sit at a table, everybody get a bunch of greens. You take the towel, you wipe them down on each side. There's one person cutting them up. Once they're cut up, that's when you get a big bowl and you put all the cut up greens inside a bowl. You sprinkle some salt, some vinegar, let it sit in the water for about 5 or 10 minutes. You clean them, you let them sit there, you rinse them. I rinse at least 3 or 4 times just so you can get all the sand, because some greens they do have sand on it. So that's the whole reason around wiping them down first, then cutting them up and then soaking them.
I had another person, Shonda, that asked, do you remove the stems?
I don't if they're like long stems, I remove some of them, but I don't remove all of them because the stem has a lot of fiber in it and they're really good and it brings texture to your greens. So if the stems are like really thick and they're long, then I would break some of them off, but I won't discard all of them because I do cut them up also inside my pot.
And we have a question of how long do you cook them?
So you're cooking your greens for at least an hour on medium, on low. I would start them off on medium high. Within 25 minutes, 30 minutes of time, I will put them down on a slow cook and let them simmer for another 35 minutes. Because you have to taste them to get the tenderness on how you like them. I like mine tender, so I let them cook long and slow. You cannot rush them.
We have another question from Sharon that says, I love cooked greens, but as a vegetarian, I need help. Do you have any advice for people who are vegetarian to cook greens?
Sure. So if you like green, I mean, I like all kind of greens. There's sometimes even with if you ever heard of the turnip green or mustard greens, you can add all of those in your pot. They just cook a little longer than others. And if you're a vegetarian, you don't eat the meat and stuff like that. When you cook them, just let them cook. You can add, like, some people add onions in theirs. You can get very creative with putting stuff in greens. It's all about what you like. You can add potatoes. Some people have cut up potatoes in theirs and just let them slow cook. A crock pot is definitely your best friend because you can put it on the night before and just let it cook throughout the whole night, early day, and they'll still be good.
That's amazing. Shonda, this is so good. We're so proud of you being a graduate of the program and also a local Black owner. How do we get a hold of you?
So you can, I'll give you my number, but my Facebook page is Shonda Little. I have a business page that's also linked to my Facebook, and it's under Southern Twist. I have my Instagram is Shona SHONA 75, and I post everything. And you can inbox me if you have any more questions, or if you even want to hire me for a gig or something like that. My number is 978-971-2146.
And tell us the name of your business one more time.
It's Southern Twist.
Thank you, Shonda.
Thank you, Chef.
All right, so next up, Dominic, do you have the ability to put the screen on me for a minute as I introduce our next host? It's okay if not. So our next is, hey, there I am. So we're so grateful that everybody tuned in. We started a program 6 months ago online. We didn't know what we were doing. It was scary, it was intimidating. A lot of people said that you can't teach people to cook online. And so we're halfway through our second class and really going well. And a lot of our students on here today. And so great job to Aisha earlier. I really love that story when she told it in class, and I was glad she got to repeat it. We're so proud of Shonda. You'll see Eric come on in a second. He has helped over 30 people start their own business here in Boston in the culinary field, and he's so proud of Shonda, as we all are. And so thank you, Major Carter. And next up is our main event, which is Elle, Simone Scott, who is from America Test Kitchen. We are so excited that she volunteered to join us today. So she has a lot of initiatives and a lot of projects that she does, not just with America's Test Kitchen, but with She Chef and some of her other projects. And so I encourage her to tell us all about them. So hello, Elle.
Hi, Chef. Hi, everybody. My name is Elle. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. It's all right that my head is chopped off. You don't need to see that. Thank you to the Croc Program for inviting me. I had the privilege of speaking at your graduation right before COVID, one of the graduations right before COVID. And I'm always happy to be here and cook with you all. Thank you for having me. Today, I'm making something that also has a backstory for me. I'm making Nashville hot fried chicken. The first time I had Nashville hot fried chicken was obviously in Nashville at a restaurant called Prince's, and it was owned by the family, the Prince family. They're a Black family from Memphis originally, but they live in Nashville. And they have this really cute small restaurant where you can go in and you can get this hot fried chicken in different levels of heat. I had the number 1 level, and it was still pretty intense, but it's served with white bread and pickles. I won't be serving that with either today. I'm just going to eat the chicken. With that being said, I've started some things here because I know we don't have a lot of time, so I want to make sure that I can tell you all the things. So you can probably hear it, but I have 2 pieces of chicken already frying in a Dutch oven. You can use a heavy bottom pot. There's 3 quarts of oil in here. You can either use peanut or canola oil, vegetable oil. And so I have 3 quarts of oil in here, and it's at 350 degrees. In fact, actually, it's creeping up to 360 degrees. So I'm going to turn it down just a little. It's really important that you just kind of watch this heat and make sure that it stays at an even 350 degrees. This recipe calls for a whole chicken. Today, I did not want to butcher a whole chicken, and there's only 2 of us eating here today, so I decided to go with bone-in thighs. So I have 4 bone-in thighs. To prep the chicken, you're going to create a brine. How many of you know what brining is? Yes, Shonda, I know you do. You make a brine. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of red, and it's because this brine is made with salt, kosher salt, sugar, hot sauce, and water, right? And you whisk it until it dissolves. Now, this recipe is best with Frank's Red Hot. I know a lot of different regions have their favorite hot sauce. Some people like Crystals, which I think is good. Tabasco here doesn't work because Tabasco has a vinegar base, and that's not really the flavor profile we're looking for. And so the chicken goes into the brine in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, covered, or up to an hour. I brine mine for an hour. The longer the brine, obviously, the better, because your meat, that salt kind of absorbs into the meat, and the flavor really, really gets in there. Not that you need a big flavor punch, so don't go over an hour. We're already gonna create this amazing season for it. So imagine your chicken is in the refrigerator brining for an hour. After an hour has passed, you can take it out, and you're gonna make a flour mixture. This is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I added like a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Not a lot, because we have a whole little flavor training about to take out of the station in a minute. So this is flour, salt, pepper. I dredged all of the chicken one time, right? One good dredge, and so it looks, you can tell it's still kind of light. Probably you're like, yeah, it can use more flour. It will get more flour, in fact. So I dredged it one time. I set it on a rack so it can kind of absorb that first layer of flour, right? Because the thing about this chicken is that we really want a nice, crispy, thick skin to it, right? We're getting there. We're definitely getting there. I'm gonna take these out. They're looking pretty good. So, all right, yeah. All right, so they will have, in an ideal world, where you're cooking this recipe, they will be sitting for a little while. So now that mine has sat for a while, I'm gonna give it another little toss in the flour. The only reason my cooked chicken and my raw chicken are in this same sheet tray is because I'm using raw on one half and cooked on the other. And I'm only cooking for a piece of the chicken. So under other circumstances, normal kitchen safety is that you don't put your raw meat with your cooked meat, right? You know that. All right, so I'm gonna drop these last 2 pieces, and then we're gonna make the bread, the actual Nashville hot sauce that goes on the chicken. All right. I want to make sure I get all the meat covered. All right. Put that to the side. All right, so I have 2 pieces here, a little more done than I would normally have liked. But again, I'm using thighs, so I don't have to follow the same timing rule. You would typically fry your chicken for 20 to 25 minutes, ideally. This went about 17 with thighs. When you're cooking this recipe with the whole chicken, you want to make sure that your dark meat is registering at 175 degrees and your white meat is registering at 160, 165, right? Okay, so I'm gonna create the, we'll call it a paste, if you will, but this is the signature Nashville sauce that goes on it. So this sauce, we're gonna start it in a small pan. I have 3 tablespoons of oil in here, and this sauce is really made up of oil and a bunch of spices. We're putting them in the pan in the oil to bloom them. As you may know, blooming really just means like warming spices to enhance their natural flavor. So I have a little bit of paprika. I'm using smoky paprika, if anyone's asking. You can use regular. I have some salt, a little sugar, because it has a little bit of a sweetness to it. A little onion powder, which is something I like to put in my collards. And the recipe calls for a tablespoon of cayenne pepper. I'm just under a tablespoon because I don't really want it that spicy. You're just gonna take your spatula, show you where we are. That's the spices. I'm gonna just kind of do that. You can probably see it bubbling. They're blooming. And when you cook these spices together and you smell it, it smells insanely delicious. And you're gonna wonder why you have not been making Nashville hot chicken. But hold on. This is a perfect accompaniment to Chef Shonda's collard greens. I think it's a nice little flavor bomb. This really only needs to bloom for like 30 seconds. These spices, and you don't want to take them further than that because then they'll burn and you can smell it. So since this is ready, I'm going to actually put it in a little bowl because I want it to stop cooking. I don't want it to keep going. Do that. This recipe is really easy to execute. It's just a matter of having your mise en place together. Otherwise, it's a basic chicken fry. So I think you can see the chicken from here. I'm just gonna take a brush and kind of swirl into my little sauce I just made and just brush the chicken with it. A little goes a long way too. You don't need a lot. Just brushing like your top surface is sufficient, honestly. And this sauce has to stretch amongst, let me see, how many pieces in the whole? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 pieces of chicken. That was me counting chicken parts in my body. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you brush it with sauce. And as you can see, I'm gonna drop it, I'm gonna eat it. Nice little glisten. Chicken is juicy, crispy skin. You can see that there. And we still have 2 pieces frying, so I would love to take any questions that there might be, Chef. Any questions so far?
Hi, Chef. There have been a couple questions. We have a question is, can you bake it from Shonda?
You know, Shonda, I'm going to say if you have a good oven fried chicken recipe, you could do it. The Nashville hot fried chicken is really about this sauce that we made. Like, this is what makes it. Like, these are the signature flavor profiles. You could make this and put it essentially on any kind of chicken, baked or fried. I would say yes, absolutely. It's more about the sauce than it is about cooking the chicken. I know people are always interested in healthier alternatives than frying. I would say yes.
Thanks, Chef. We have another question from Facebook that says, can you add scallions to your brine?
I mean, you can add scallions to the brine, but it's such a short brine. It's really only 30 minutes to an hour. The scallions wouldn't really have a chance to impart any flavor. So I would say you'd make better use of those scallions if you chopped it up and put it on top of your chicken.
Thank you. We have another question from Sharon, Chef, that says, can you soak it in buttermilk, the chicken?
I mean, of course, buttermilk is a very common brine for frying chicken. So essentially, yes, but this recipe mimics that of Prince's chicken, and the Nashville hot fire chicken is fried in a certain way. So I guess that's a yes and a no. For this recipe, you don't need it. Traditionally, buttermilk is an excellent brine.
Thanks. That's the questions I have right now.
All right. Those are good questions. Any questions about, I guess, let me tell you a little bit about She Chef.
Yes.
She Chef is an organization that I founded in 2016 for women of color in culinary art. We've extended to food, beverage, and hospitality, so our bandwidth has grown a lot. In the past, we've done mentor matching, job placement. Hold on, let me set my timer again. Mentor matching, job placement, networking events. We're currently doing digital programming for 2021. So every month we have a guest chef series, if you will. You can follow us on Instagram at SheChefInc, and we post about the events as they come. They are pay what you can. Usually starting at about $5, because we want every woman in the industry to be able to attend. So you can see other people who look like you who are doing successful things. We talk about how to start a food magazine, how to be a food stylist, how to pivot your business, your catering business. We try to cover as many topics as we think are helpful for women of color in the culinary industry. And we've been doing this since 2013, so I think we're doing something right. But everyone is welcome. It's not exclusive. It's a very inclusive events for the year, so everyone is welcome to come. You don't have to be a woman. You just have to respect them.
Chef, we got another really good question.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
So somebody asked how you keep the flour on the chicken.
Well, how do you keep the flour on the chicken? Well, in this case, because the chicken was brine, it was a little moist when I took it out. I took the chicken, you would typically pour the brine off of the chicken so it would still be in whatever pot or bowl or vessel you were brining it in. And so it's moist. And so when I put it in the flour, it has a little bit of wetness from the hot sauce, the water, the sugar, and the salt.
Great. I have another question from Aisha that's asking if we can get the sauce recipe.
I will make sure that that Chef has the recipe and he'll send it to you all. Does that work?
That's fantastic. And also, she's a vegetarian, and she's also asking if this can be done with trumpet mushrooms, king trumpet mushrooms.
I mean, I think that I think the sauce itself can really be put on anything, right? I mean, I think that's the bottom line. The thing though is that trumpet mushrooms are so small, this sauce might be a little overpowering for them. But you could do a version of this sauce, like making your own spices, the spice profiles that you like. The key ingredients here are cayenne pepper and paprika. You can kind of like balance and weigh that out and figure out how much works for something as small as trumpet mushrooms. But I'd be excited to hear how that went for you. I hope you share that.
Absolutely. We've had obviously, Chef, we have a lot of students that want to work with you. And we also have students that are asking about the internship for America's Test Kitchen. I'm guessing it's on pause.
Currently, our internship program is defunct because of COVID. So we don't have any interns now. We will return to the internship. Let me get my thermometer. Give me 1 second. We will return to the internship program, once we feel a little safer. We're actually not even in the office these days. All of us are still working from home. So when we resume, I encourage everyone to apply. We will be back and running one of these days. All right, I'm taking the last 2 pieces out. Again, I'm not abiding by the actual recipe rules on cook time because I'm cooking thighs. And just to make sure, always have your thermometer so that you can temp your chicken just to be safe. I'm well over temp right now. So I'm gonna turn that off. It's best to brush these while they're hot. It's really also going to intensify the pepper, so eat at your own risk. I know one of the majors wanted me to drop this off at his house, but I don't know if this is what you want. It's heat.
If he doesn't want it, I'll take it, Chef.
I got it.
He got it under control. So that's how you make Nashville hot fried chicken. And it's really an amazing thing to make. It's a great game day, meal. It's, I love food that really celebrates the culture. This Prince's hot fried chicken really has made history. If you Google now, you'll find lots of other like hot fried chicken recipes. You know what I'm saying? Restaurants, Hattie B's. These are all restaurants that were that are inspired by Prince's. Prince's was the original hot fried chicken restaurant in Nashville, Tennessee. As far as I know, that they are still open and thriving. But this recipe means a lot. It definitely changed the game for me in terms of really understanding Southern cooking. My grandparents are from the South, but I'm from the North. I'm like major. I'm from the Midwest. And we did eat a lot of Southern staples, but they're from Mississippi. And if you learn anything about the South, different regions eat in different ways, right? So, I'm happy to, talk about this chicken and continue on the legacy of the story of Prince's. They deserve that. And I hope that when you all make it, you'll send me pictures because y'all are really good about that. I got so many pictures from the last assignment that I gave the last group. So if you make this, tag me on Instagram at ELLE_Simone_Scott, L_Simone Scott. And also follow us at She Chef INC for programming for She Chef.
Chef Scott, you got so many pictures because our class just loves you time in and time out again. And we're so grateful to have you and your support. And we're better because of you. And thank you so much for all your help and your great demo.
Thank you. Likewise. I'm only half of who I am in front of. And so thank you for having me part of school and all the steps and all the great stories. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Next up, we have the glue of our culinary program, which is Eric Hall. He is our life skills coach. And he's going to come on for a minute and give us some inspiration to finish the evening.
Yes. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me okay, Chef?
Yes.
Great. How's everybody doing this evening? Everything sounded good. I was making my way home, so I had it off camera. But now that I'm here with you, it's a blessing to be before you guys. As I was thinking and wondering, what I would be sharing on, and just give us some closing words of inspiration. I just think of the power of Black history and just the power of what the month means and the time means. And there's not one month or one year or a decade that can sum up the greatness of what Black history means, and what food means to Black history, and how Black history have contributed to food and vice versa. And so this is a great time to be coming together. Our second culinary class that we ran virtually. Me and Chef didn't know how it was going to go. We was like, okay, hey, we did it in a live class, man. We should be able to do it. And it was amazing. It's amazing to see after doing the second class that things are going really well. The students are really loving the information. We're taking hold of the information. We're able to still connect to students in a way that really helps people move the needle in their life. So what I wanted to share, I want to take a kind of different turn as I closed out, and I want to share with each and every person that's on this call and that's on this line, and really speaking to the importance of history, but the importance of writing your history. And so I want you to think about tomorrow. Today will be history. So what we do today, what we do right now, and each moment we have determines what we will see in the future, this will be history. So every person on here has gifts, talents, abilities, skills. And culinary is one small thing. The beautiful thing about culinary and food is it's universal to all of us. We all use it, we all love it, we all participate in it. Whether we, depending on our diet, all of us will participate in the culinary world because we all like to eat. I'm sure everybody on here like to eat, and a lot of us here now we love to cook. Look, Major, I see that look like shaking your head like I love to eat. I'm looking at the dishes on the chicken, the Shonda's collard greens. I mean, it's wonderful just seeing what you guys have done. But I want you guys to know that food is food. It helps the soul. It helps the spirit. It feeds the body. It's how we celebrate. We celebrate with food. We do so much with food that, it's that one thing that no one can ever get away from. When you, even in good or bad times, food is a part of it. When you come to repasts at a funeral, you have food. You celebrate a birthday, you have food. But I want everybody to focus on what we can do from this point forward, because although this is a blessed time, we are in a time of a pandemic, and we are blessed. Everybody on here is in their right state of mind. So I want everybody to be thankful for where you are and the fact that you made it. There's still some road ahead that we don't know what it's going to look like, but you've made it. You made it to this point. There's some people who don't have employment. They're trying to figure out their next meal. So while some of us are blessed, there are those who are going through some tough times. And we want to always give them encouragement. And if you can be a blessing to someone, if you get an overflow, be a blessing to someone else. All right, that's how you write history, by being a great person in times of need such as this. I want you to understand something. Don't minimize how gifted you are. Don't minimize your talents. I want you all to know that you can take cooking and make it as big as you want. You can take this thing with cooking and you can impact students. You can impact people's lives. You can change culture. You can change things. So don't minimize the fact that you know how to cook. Knowing how to cook is a great gift. And there's other things that many of us do. I'm getting to know Miss Aisha, one of our students. I found she also is a great photographer. Didn't know that she also takes pictures. I love taking pictures. I'm excited to see the work that Shonda doing. I've known Shonda since her and I were children, small kids. So to see her blessed in the cooking world now is a blessing. And she's writing history. All of you guys are writing history. Major, the work you do at the Croc Center and abroad, you're writing history. Chef, you and I on our 23rd program is writing history. What you're doing, Chef Elle, is writing history. So focus on what can I do today that will contribute to the future and contribute into the future. So always know that you have something that is bigger than just right now. It's going to span into the future. And always remember this. When you get down on your luck or ever have some tough times or face some adversity, always remember that the world needs your gift. People need what you have. There are things that you have that someone else needs. There's parts of your story that's going to bless someone else. There's parts of your testimony that's going to help someone else walk away from the suicide attempt. There's things that you've been through, and you probably say, how did I make it? It's because God has chosen you. There's gifts in you that can never be replaced, and you got to understand that. That's how you are going to write history, with the gifts that God has given you, the things you've made it through. If you think about it, if you think about the stuff you've made it through, some of you probably ask yourself, how in the world did I make it? It's because at this point in time, God has chosen you to do some phenomenal things. So with everyone on this call and on this line, it's bigger than cooking. It's bigger than just Black History Month. It's about humanity, and it's about leaving an impact on society. You know, I heard an older person say one time, you always want to leave a place better than you found it. Let's leave your city, your state, your church, your organization better than you found it. That means you have to be intentional about doing something great. You have to be intentional about doing something that's going to leave an imprint for your name. We was talking about branding the other day in class on yesterday. He was talking about the importance of a name. I want you guys to remember, your name is everything. Your name is everything. Your name is all you have. So remember, you write your name into the history books. All right, and you write your name in the history books by what you do. Your acts of kindness, your love, your generosity, the things that you decide matter. Whatever it is that matter to you, let those things matter to you. And remember, all of us are going to run a different journey. Our journeys are different, but then we have these overlapping areas where we all have some common interests and common love for certain things. That's where the beauty of the human experience takes place. All right, so just remember, show love and gratitude every day when you can. Always be appreciative that you have another day, another moment to do something significant. Always remember that no person deserves to be judged. Get to know people, get to know people's character, get to know people's value, get to know who people are. Don't judge them based on someone else's opinion. And just remember, no matter how tough it seems, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. They always say joy comes in the morning, because no matter how good we are, what we do, a lot of us have those days when we want to sleep in late. A lot of us have those days where it's like, man, I don't want to do it today. But we got to get up. We push ourselves because we have children, we have families, we have loved ones, and we have a world that depends on us. So with that being said, Chef, Major, everybody else, all the guest speakers that was on here, you guys did a great job. And I heard everybody, I just was outside moving around, so I didn't have my camera on. But I heard everybody's talk. Thank you guys for everything you shared. I'm coming to get my collard greens. Shonda, Chef Elle, I don't know where you live, but that chicken, I'm coming for it. Aisha, you already blessed me with some of your homemade remedies. Thank you so much. That was a blessing. She blessed me with a care package, went out of her way. And just those acts of kindness is what I'm talking about. That's how you write your name into the history books. So thank you guys. It was a blessing. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to give it to family to have some dinner after you guys made me hungry. So thank you, Chef. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Eric. That's beautiful. We're now accepting applications for the next class as well. So if anybody wants to sign up for the next class and get inspired by Eric, how can you turn that down? Thanks, Eric. Beautiful stuff. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.
Yep. Take care, everybody.
Bye.